This is Co-op Chronicles, episode 38. Hello and welcome back to Co-op Chronicles. This is episode 38. I am Pint-Sized Geisha, and as always, I have Black Label.
Hello.
And Azalee.
Hello.
And today is...
we're going to each introduce our own true crime, like deep dive. So, I think that would be kind of cool, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start first. Sorry. I was like looking at stuff. So, Jesus.
Go get some water.
My water bottle's downstairs.
Go get it.
No. Yeah. Maybe.
Yes, go get it, because you're going to be talking for an hour.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're back at Co-op Chronicles again. How was you guys' week? We do this every week. How was your week between this?
Between weeks?
Between weeks?
Oh, my goodness.
How was your week?
It was okay.
That's fine.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome. Any plans, events?
Your other
No.
mic's in the way.
My other mic is in the way. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, okay. So we're just going to be talking about some true crime realm stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be focusing, I guess I'll start first. Or do you guys want to start first?
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. I'm going to focus on the truly unsettling case of, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's Issei Sagawa. Issei Sagawa.
Go take a break and go get some water.
I could start.
Yeah, you go ahead and go first. I'll get water.
All right. Hello. My true crime case is going to be on the Lady of the Dunes. Have you ever heard of this one?
I have not.
Apparently it was on the Ghoul Boys episode, and I didn't know this. I just thought it was fascinating. So in July of 1974, the body of a woman was found on the dunes of Race Point Beach off of the coast of Massachusetts. They found her, and she was covered in sand. She was kind of not posed, but she was laid in the sand. She was covered with a flannel shirt. She had bell-bottom pants on, because the 70s. But the most unsettling thing about it was her hands were chopped off.
Oh,
she was
Jesus.
missing her hands, and police suspect this is because someone didn't want her to be identified through her fingerprints.
Mm-hmm.
But dental records, it's a thing. Maybe not in the 70s, I don't know. But she was believed to be around 20 to 40 years old, and she was never identified until recently. But we'll get to that. So, yeah, she got the name Lady of the Dunes because of where she was found. She had long red hair. She had, this red bandana with her pants. And they found it weird where she was located because that beach... those dunes are, a heavy traffic area for tourists and, the population of the area. So they were how did no one see her? So a few unusual things that the police, noticed was, one, her hands were gone.
Where was this at?
Massachusetts.
In the 70s.
Yeah, in the 70s.
Massachusetts in the
74.
70s.
And her shoes were, neatly placed next to her body, which is...
Very
odd because you would think
She got her hands chopped off.
yeah, a violent murder where someone would chop your hands off, they're just gonna neatly put your shoes next to you. It's very weird. And they also found it weird that there were no witnesses. Again, this was a very heavily trafficked area with tourists and population. How did nobody see this murder happen, or how did no one see her being placed there?
So it was on a beach?
Yeah, the dunes.
The dunes.
The dunes.
The Ghoul Boys did an episode about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
He told me.
I told her.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I wasn't here for that episode, that part.
But possible speculation was that people thought she was... So Jaws was just filmed, in the area. So people were thinking like, oh, maybe she's connected to like Hollywood, where she was like a stunt double, not a stunt double, but like a double for somebody, or was just like in the film. But no one can really be sure because they can't they're like, I don't know, I didn't see her. So over the years, there have been several theories. A serial killer. I guess during the time in the 70s around that area, there was like a serial killer going around who supposedly had like the same MO of like killing people and chopping their hands off. So that they were like, oh, it could have been that. Or they...
That's so odd that like... that they did the same crime as that person, their MO, like a copycat.
They were probably trying to make it seem like it.
Like pin it on them, yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like that's what a lot of murderers.
Because nobody's
just do a one and done kind of thing.
Oh, it's crazy that this guy just so happened to cut this person's hands off,
Mm-hmm.
and it's insane.
Mm-hmm. Also, dental records is like a thing. I don't know how early they started using dental records to identify bodies, but it's just very odd that like her teeth weren't removed. I don't know.
You're a crazy person. You're just like, you're assuming that you did the crime. You're over here like, gotta remove the teeth.
Well, I mean, the murderer got away for a pretty long time, so they did a good job, I guess.
That's crazy.
They also suspected like possibly her partner, like a jilted lover or something, just because like her body was placed gently, her shoes were placed next to her nicely, and even though her hands were cut off, it's like nothing about this murder screamed like violent killer besides the hand chopping. And again, she could have been an actress that no one knew about. Perhaps she could have been like an overseas actress and she was just coming around the States and was like doing some work. Hard to know. But so in recent years, because technology has advanced, in 2022, they found a possible match to a woman named Ruth Marie Terry. She was missing for several years around the time, and she was reportedly doing a cross-country trek. She was from California, and so DNA of the time, like the tech wasn't the greatest, so that's why it took so long for her body to be identified.
Which one? Wait, what? Oh, the person?
No, her identity.
Oh, okay.
Her identity was confirmed to be Ruth Marie Terry. And I was explaining how technology back then wasn't good, so that's why her confirmation
She was a runner?
Recent. She was a cross-country... She was on a cross-country trip.
Okay.
Cross-country.
Oh, okay.
So she
like
was just
traveling.
traveling. But she was a California native.
Gotcha.
And then, so, as you were telling me, that they did find her killer, and her killer happened to be her husband, Guy Moldavi.
It's always the spouse.
Usually, most of the time. But the whole, putting her body in such a public spot is really what baffles me. Like, if he wanted her to just disappear, why did he leave her there?
Yeah.
I guess I should have looked into that more, but I don't know if he ever disclosed that information.
I think what I remember watching is that, so they found her, who she was or whatever, and then they like did the whole DNA, however, like ancestral stuff. They found her son, and I guess he figured out, or they realized like it was the father, and he was like, he always wondered why it was so weird that like his dad never reported her missing. Like he never reported her missing.
Yeah.
And
like who reported her missing though? Probably a family member, not her husband.
I think wasn't she found? I think she was just found.
Well, there was a missing case for her in California.
Oh, okay. Because I just know that the husband didn't report her missing, and then the son talked about that, and then how the father moved on and married right away or something like that.
I would like to say that, like, maybe to throw suspicion off of him, he should have reported her, but I've seen cases where the killer has reported them and they were still caught.
Yeah.
So it's like, either way, you're going to get caught unless, I don't know, some strange circumstances happen to where you're unidentifiable.
Yeah.
Don't know. But that was mine. I just thought it was a really interesting case. Again, I didn't know the Ghoul Boys did it. If I had known, I wouldn't have done this one. I just thought it was interesting because, like, everything that led to finding who her killer was and who she was, it's all just very strange. But then I have to put myself in the mindset of the 70s didn't have, first of all, you didn't have the greatest, like, police force.
I know, there's not so
also,
much
like,
technology.
and also the DNA technology we have now was not superb back then. Like, you could do, like, basic stuff, but you couldn't, find connections.
Yeah.
You had to have it, like, in a database, probably. And I just want to just shout out, because I thought this was really fascinating. It was, there's, like, not much to it, because they found the killer in, like, super fast. But her name was Kitty Genovese, and she was literally murdered in broad daylight in front of 38 people, and the killer still got away.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I guess that case is what led to the like theory or like the idea of what's it called, bystander effect, where somebody who's like watching is just gonna assume that the other person who's watching is gonna report it, and nobody reports it. So it was a very fascinating case to me, and I was just like, wow.
I think it's just insane. Like, it seems like the 70s and the 80s were like the time for murder.
For serial killers.
Yeah.
That's if
That's
you wanted
the
to kill, you
facts.
should have been born in the 80s.
The 70s, the 80s, and the 90s,
Yeah.
when technology was not its greatest.
Yeah.
But at the same sense, they all collected like DNA, all the evidence, and now they're starting to be able to like crack cold cases from those
But it
decades.
sucks because like when you think about it, like all of those killers are like old now.
Yeah,
Yep.
it doesn't even matter.
So it's like they're already at the end of their life, and
Yep.
They should just stone them so they go out badly.
Oh my goodness.
Like, they need to be tortured or something.
yeah, I think it'd be pretty not fun, but it would be very interesting to like have that kind of society again.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Y'all are crazy.
Like, you can't let bad people get away with it.
That's true.
Yeah,
'Cause
and you
that's
gotta
gonna
set a standard.
Yeah, it's gonna set an example to
Yeah.
like future killers.
That's
that are like,
true. I agree.
I mean, there's like a lot of crazy shit out in the world right now with like stupid ass crime.
Yeah.
And I feel like they all should be punished like severely because they just keep doing it. And whether if it's a petty crime or not, it's like they start getting like periodically worse. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'm an asshole when it comes to that stuff.
We are getting more into political.
That's not political at all.
We
That
need
has
to
nothing to do with
reel it in.
politics. No, that has nothing to do with politics. It has everything to do with people that are just bad and do stupid
What are you
shit.
talking about? It doesn't really have something to do with politics.
How does that have anything to do with it? They should be.
Because then you're going to have listeners who say, well, this, and this, and this, and
Well,
this.
they can
and
say
you
their
consider
opinion.
that.
I'm saying my opinion.
You need to chill out.
No, I don't agree with some of the crimes right now.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree that the crime levels in the United States have been horrible and getting up there, but this is a subject that we do not need to talk about or touch on.
Well, we're talking about true crime, so I'm talking about crime.
crime is bad. Don't do it.
Yeah, it's very bad.
So like, I just don't do it. It's not worth it.
Yeah, that's all we got to say.
Okay.
That's all we have to say.
Crime stoppers.
Or crime watchers.
Crime watchers.
Jesus.
We watch the crimes on TV.
Gosh, man.
You gosh.
That's
you want to bring yours?
That's why, like, when you
Your
watch the crime shows, it's always like videos from the 70s, and they're all like grainy and stuff.
Mhm.
So it's like, who has evidence like that nowadays? No one.
No.
No one records stuff like that.
It's like the Bigfoot, freaking the video.
So yeah.
It's like, oh, look at this evidence I have. It's like a
Enhance.
blurry figure.
Enhance.
Yeah, enhance. Enhance. What is that from?
Something Troopers.
Super Troopers.
Super Troopers. Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay, babe. You want to go? You look tired.
I am tired, and you're making me grumpy.
You want coffee when we leave?
Yeah, I
Okay.
do plan on getting coffee
Where are
when
you
we
guys
go
going?
to the library.
Oh, yeah, it's the Super Bowl today. In case
I
you
don't
wanna share
care
something.
about those
Oh,
guys.
okay,
I don't
never
care
mind.
about.
I don't care
I
about
hope the
Super
Eagles
Bowl.
win. I'm just over seeing the Chiefs over and over, and the refs. I don't care if you're a Chiefs fan or if you're. You gotta admit that the refs be fucking helping them. Like the Bills fourth down. How do you mark the ball back? Hey, never mind. I don't want to get
Isn't
into
the
sports.
Chiefs with
Patrick Mahomes,
yeah,
the fucking
that
Kermit
one
the
guy.
Frog. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You are riding on your emotions today, aren't you?
Fucking.
You cannot keep it.
I was watching. Speaking of the Super Bowl, I know we're talking about true crime, but I'm gonna bring this up. I was watching like an old. It was like an Instagram reel, and I remember watching. It was because Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, they're quarterback brothers, or whatever, and they do they have like a watch party, and they were watching with Bill Belichick. He was like the head coach of the Patriots, and they were watching with him. And it showed like Travis Kelce, and then it cut to Taylor Swift, and you could hear Bill Belichick goes, ugh. And Eli Manning and Peyton Manning just started laughing because he was like a hard coach, he doesn't give a shit about that stuff. So I was like, yeah, man, he is.
Well, they're playing it to the
fans.
fans.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They overplay the whole Chiefs, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, like all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry, babe.
I mean, we do love a good Taylor Swift song around here, though.
Do you?
You love a good Taylor Swift
you're
song.
Taylor Swift.
I don't.
I'm not really.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to be nice.
I don't listen to Taylor
Don't
Swift.
include me in that category.
I'm not
quick.
saying she does bad music, but I'm saying
it's just
like
not my type of music.
It's like the same music all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has a style. Everyone has a style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My style is more like rock.
My style is more like lo-fi, just beats. I'm not a music person.
I love Sleep Token.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You want to go, babe?
Sure, I'll go.
I got 2, just in case we cut it short.
Okay.
Go.
Excuse me.
Bring it.
Relax.
Hype me up.
So mine is about the Eriksson Twins. The Eriksson Twins. Oh, I got to go up a little bit. Hold on. So Ursula and Sabrina Eriksson are Swedish identical twin sisters born in 1967. So in May 2008, they just behaved very, very bizarre and violently and recklessly. Okay. So, May 16th, 2008, the Eriksson twins were traveling together in England where they suddenly started behaving erratically. They were first on a National Express bus traveling from Liverpool to London, but due to their behavior and agileted behavior.
Jilted?
I think it's a jilted.
A jilted behavior.
Like generational.
I don't know.
I was very confused by what you were saying.
Generational.
Agitated. Agitated.
Okay.
Oh, you said
well,
it. It's an L in there.
It's a jilted, though.
Agitated. Due to their suspicious and agitated behavior. Oh my God. I feel like my brain was trying to say two words combined.
It was good.
Hippopotamus.
Hippopotamus.
Due to their agitated behavior, the bus driver of the bus forced them off near the service station on the M6 motorway.
Sorry. How old were they?
So they were born in 1967, and this is 2008. Let me pull up my calculator.
Oh, so like 29. Right?
29-ish.
You said 1967? They are not 20.
Minus 2008.
You said in their 20s.
Wait.
Oh, sorry. 38? Was it 38, 39?
In their 40s, I think.
1967 minus
38.
2008. They were
no,
41.
They were 40, yeah.
They were
yeah,
old. Oh,
yeah.
wow. I thought they were kind of young.
2008.
Yeah,
I was thinking
I thought you
about-
said 2001 or 2000.
So they're about 46, 47. Okay.
Damn, my mouth was wrong.
In their 20s.
I thought they were in their 20s when I read this. That's okay. So they got off on the M6 motorway, or stationed by the M6 motorway. CCTV footage show them walking onto the motorway, appearing anxious and paranoid. When police arrived, they watched in shock as both women ran into oncoming traffic.
Oh.
Yep. I remember seeing this too. Ursula was hit by a truck, crushing her legs.
Ooh.
Sabrina was struck by a car and knocked unconscious for a brief period of time. Like they ran out into traffic.
What?
But despite their injuries, both women fought off the police officers and emergency personnel. So people were trying to save them and they were fighting them off.
No legs, just fucking fighting.
Yep. Sabrina punched an officer and attempted to flee. This is happening on the freeway, guys.
In where?
In London.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They seem to exhibit superhuman strength and insensitivity to pain, which some have linked to like psychosis and drugs, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there was no drugs found in their system.
What?
They were not high. After a struggle, they were detained and taken into custody, right?
Okay.
Ursula was hospitalized. I can't fucking
You sound like me like the other week.
I haven't had coffee. Ursula was hospitalized due to her severe leg injuries, but Sabrina was discharged just after 5 hours by authorities, despite her erratic behavior. Okay, they let her go. So now alone, Sabrina is walking around, and she wanders into a street, and a local man named Glenn Hollenshed, a good Samaritan, invited her to his house and offered her food and tea and warmth and just trying to be friendly, right? He was also a retired paramedic. Okay. So he's all about public service. Mm-hmm. So he was friendly and calm Sabrina was friendly and calm at first, but suddenly she stabbed him to death the next morning.
Jesus.
What the heck is wrong with these people?
After stabbing him 5 times, she fled the scene with a hammer, smashing herself in the face with his hammer.
What? What is wrong? There's definitely some mental.
When she was originally released from the hospital, they didn't do a psych check on her?
I guess not. She was released 5 hours later. She killed somebody, ran away, smashed her head with a hammer, and I'm not done. And then she jumped off a 40-foot bridge.
What?
And she survived.
What in the super crazy
how
powers
long?
this fucking person?
They're still alive.
They're still alive?
Yep.
Wow.
Both of these, despite several injuries, she remained conscious and continued to resist arrest after smashing herself in the head and jumping off a 40-foot fall.
What?
A 40-foot bridge.
Man, who is this woman? Lex Luthor?
I'm not saying it's suspicious, but
It's
like
suspicious.
cult work maybe.
Maybe.
Involved.
She was eventually arrested and taken to the hospital. Sabrina was charged with manslaughter, but due to diminished responsibility, she was only sentenced to 5 years in prison.
That's bizarre. Mm-hmm. Dude,
Why aren't they like holding her somewhere? Just
yeah,
for,
that's
like,
crazy. How
Isn't
do you
it
just
crazy? I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
She must have had a really good public defense.
I don't understand that stuff too. Like when you know they did some crazy crime or something, like
5 years for killing a man?
Yeah, it's your responsibility not to let them. They're clearly not okay.
I've seen
in the
people
head.
do pettier crimes
Yeah.
and get more
And
years.
United
People
States,
locked up in prison
Well, I guess
for
that
weed
was in the
back in the
UK
day.
though,
So
right?
Yeah, this is in the UK where laws are not as strict as I'm not 100% sure. I feel like laws overseas are not as hard as the United States when it comes to like murder and manslaughter and stuff.
yeah, no, that's bizarre
Yeah.
for sure.
Right.
Like-
but I don't know for sure. I haven't known anybody who went to jail for manslaughter and stuff.
I've
I don't
never
know.
heard of anybody jumping off bridges, getting hit by cars, fighting off police, and just
Smashing herself in
living,
the head and
yeah.
then living. Yeah, but so Sabrina was sentenced to 5 years in prison because of what we would consider like mentally unstable. She had like a mental, criminally insane, whatever. I don't know what is it called.
Yeah, I think criminally insane.
Yeah. Ursula, her sister, she was never charged, right? She just
Yeah, she was
jumped in
dead.
front of a freaking car.
She died.
No, she's alive.
She's alive.
They're both alive.
She just hurt her. Yeah, she was just unconscious.
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
she
she was
she's
just
the one who
unconscious.
broke her legs,
Yeah, she
right?
broke her
Oh,
legs,
yeah,
and then
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, she's fine. She's on a wheelchair.
I
Yeah.
thought she died.
Some say that it was Fleur de Douce
Oh yeah, I've heard of this.
shared psychosis, a rare condition where one person's delusion is transferred to another. Them being twins.
Yeah, there was a
they were
thing.
twins.
There was a thing. Don't quote me, but there was an incident of that in like long time ago where was it like it was called like the dance party where like people kept dancing and they danced till they died.
I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking
Or
Sounds familiar.
or I might have it mixed up with the other one where it was a person in the hospital and she smelled like garlic and everybody was getting sick, and then mentally everybody else was getting sick. Yeah, I it's one of those two cases, but I remember hearing that word where it's like if one person's feeling something, everybody kind of starts feeling that way.
Oh, you know what? It was the Slenderman girls too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like one girl had this like paranoia about Slenderman, and then she met the other girl, and then like kind of transferred to her too, to where she started believing it too.
Yeah, I just remember hearing that word. It's like weird.
I think that's what they said for the girls, but yeah. So some think it was that they shared a rare condition where one sister was sharing her delusions with the other sister, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Another theory is paranoid schizophrenia, that they both were experiencing schizophrenia.
I mean, that would make sense, being twins and like it one at the same time. Like
Twins have that like twin telepathy thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Substance, however, like I said, no drugs were found in their system, but some speculate that they may have been under the influence of an unknown substance that they didn't test for. Who knows?
Interesting.
I don't know.
I mean, what can you test? What would you not test for that could cause it? You know,
And
that's what I would start
yeah.
with instead of just like, oh, it could be something we did test. What do you not test?
You
that
test
it could
for
be?
everything, my friend. One of the really wild theories is that it was a government conspiracy, that they were being tested on to prove, like, to make like soldiers stronger and not feel pain and like jump off a 40-foot building and not die and keep going. So that's one of the more wilder conspiracies,
Yeah,
is
that's
that they were
definitely a
getting
conspiracy.
tested
I'm
on.
sure there's somebody out there like, oh, she's probably super strong.
Like secret intelligent operation and being experimented on, right? Because she got hit by a car, smashed her face, jumped off a building, still lived, and still fought. You know?
Yeah, that's crazy.
So, yeah.
Oh.
So to this day, the sisters have never spoken about what happened. Or
Yeah.
why they did what they did,
That
or what
makes
was going
sense.
through their mind.
I
They
mean,
just
I
like
wouldn't
totally
either.
shut up and lived about their life. It doesn't say where they are now. Again, this was 2008. Oh, well, she was sentenced in 2010, so she's already out of jail because she would have gotten out of jail in 2015. So this is quite old. But at the time, so they were 41, so now they're about like 50, 60s right now.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a little older, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that is mine.
Mine's
Crazy.
kind of gruesome, so I'm just giving you guys a heads up. It's detailed, like some graphic stuff, and it's about cannibalism. So I'm just letting
Trigger
you guys know.
warning.
Trigger warning.
Just letting you guys know. Look at this. It's like I'm giving. What was that thing that we were talking?
Spoilers.
Spoiler. I'm giving you a trigger warning. Look at that. Moving on
Well,
up.
spoilers and trigger warning, I think, are two very different
Yeah,
things.
but this is
Triggers are
definitely a trigger warning for some graphic details. So mine's gonna be on what's his name? Issei Sagawa.
Mm-hmm.
Japanese.
Japanese.
I think I
yes.
heard this one.
So I'm not sure
It's
if you guys are
already
ready
given- I already
for
know
some
it's gonna be
cannibalism, but
I think I've heard this one.
so I'm gonna give you guys a heads up about that. So I'll tell you about who he is. I'm pretty sure it's that famous guy who's like a famous Japanese guy or some shit. It happened in Paris. There's like a lot of interviews about the crime and all that stuff. So if you guys have questions, let me know. So Issei Sagawa was a Japanese guy born in 1949. He had a pretty pretty normal upbringing. He was like a very small person. I recall watching a documentary on this guy. He was like a tiny dude. He always had like a fantasy about cannibalism, and then he never acted on it. But he had early fantasies about it. So by the early 80s, he'd moved to Paris to study literature at the Sorbonne, Sorbonne. I don't know what it's called, but that's when things kind of took a very dark turn. So from what I've read, he had these urges for years, and in June 1981, he befriended a Dutch classmate, Renee Hartfelt, inviting her over for a pretense and translating poetry thing as like a session. But that was his twisted setup to actually set her up to what he called is to absorb her energy and beauty,
Ew.
which is kind of fucking creepy and horrifying. So clearly this man planned it from day one, you know. It wasn't like, oh, let's spontaneously do this. So the details of the crime and the immediate aftermath. So the actual murder of this person happened on June 11th, 1981. Sagawa shot Renee in his apartment, and then he acted on and then an act that's like hard to stomach. He cannibalized parts of her body over a couple of days. He took photos, wrote down thoughts, like about what each tasted like. I'm assuming like it was pretty grotesque.
Dang.
He eventually dumped the remains in a lake, but was caught by French police, which is how he was arrested. He claimed that it was to absorb her beauty in some sort of weird, bizarre fetish reasoning. Also, apparently, he'd been open about his cannibalistic urges for a while, but nobody ever acted on it. Nobody questioned him and thought he would go this far, you know? So the French legal response for this was he was deemed mentally unfit for trial in France and placed in an institution for a bit. People assumed he was locked up forever or something like that, but we'll see how that ended up. But now the French authorities basically concluded he was insane. That was basically the immediate outcome. So he didn't he didn't have like no standard murder trial. Yeah. If this happened over here, what do you guys think would happen? Do you think there'd be a public outcry or some shit? I feel like over here it'd be a lot different.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a public outcry, but I definitely think I'm not saying it's normal for cannibalism, but I think the U.S. just has like insane killers that like we'd be like, oh
that
my
have
God,
done
just
that, like
another
Ted
one.
Bundy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like too out there for killers in the U.S.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So there were some legal loopholes which led to his ultimate infamous freedom. So not too far long after he was deported to Japan, France basically wanted him gone. They didn't want him there. The sealed court documents and official stance that he was mentally unfit meant Japan never received enough evidence for a new trial. So basically, he wasn't convicted in Japan either. So he walked free for about 15 months in a psychotic... or he walked free after about 15 months in a psychiatric ward. 15 months for cannibalism.
15 months?
15 months. That's kind of crazy.
This is insane. It's so crazy to me, like the sentences that people in other countries get versus the U.S.
Yeah, it's bonkers. Like, I don't understand. So the media sensation during this time, I mean, if you ever get bored, I know there's a documentary about this guy on Netflix, because you look at him and he's the tiniest person. He's like extremely tiny.
Yeah, it looks really creepy.
Yeah. He then became like a twisted celebrity. He wrote books, gave interviews of describing the murder, and some tabloids ate it up, like literally, no pun intended. This caused an outrage among families of the victims of violent crimes, obviously, and then he profited off of it, So, what's your reaction to that? Do you guys think it's okay for somebody who just describes his cannibalism to basically capitalize on his crime?
That's
to make
crazy.
money? I don't understand how that's okay.
Would buy it.
Yeah, I don't understand why people would just I don't know.
Probably fans of his.
Yeah, it's kind of insane.
Or you could be like, I think it's good to read if you are trying to get into like that kind of field. Maybe you can learn the psychology of a killer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's true.
And a cannibalist, you could like read, what he's thinking essentially.
What's weird to me, and I mean, I don't know if our system is like that too, but I don't understand how there was no trial in France because he was mentally ill. And then when he got deported back to Japan, there wasn't a crime because there was not enough documents and like evidence and stuff. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't make, I don't understand how this man literally tells you how he does it or how he did it, but then he's like free to go in Japan. I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it's because it was done in a different country,
Mm-hmm.
so your country wouldn't have you face the laws for something that you didn't do outside of their domain.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
It's like why people flee the U.S. when
Yeah.
they commit a crime. 'cause
And they
you
have to be
can't-
extradited back.
Yeah, you can't
Oh.
like get in trouble for it when you're overseas.
Yeah.
So his life now, he's reported to be in poor health nowadays. But still, the fact that he spent minimal time behind bars is kind of crazy. People debate if he remains a danger or if it was a one-time thing, which I would assume is hard to say, but I think he's clearly unstable. After hearing this about this guy, because I think he's still alive, if I'm not mistaken, what are your guys' biggest takeaway from it?
He recently died in 2022.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay.
That's crazy, though.
Isn't it like proven that eating humans causes some kind of like disease or something? Isn't
I don't
there
know.
like some kind of thing in human flesh that kind of makes you go crazy?
I don't know.
I know that
I
if you
don't eat.
inbreed, you have a lot of genetic
don't
stuff that could be messed up.
Yeah.
It's
Or
so
about
gross.
eating somebody,
Thinking
though.
about it, just like ew.
I mean, for everyone listening and you guys, do you consider this one of the wildest failings of the justice system in modern times?
Well, Biden was failing too. You know, she only got 5 years for killing a man.
Yeah, I guess it just...
Again, it's just the country that it
the crime
occurred
is...
in.
Yeah.
Because we're coming out of the mindset of the U.S. where like crimes are like crazy weird.
Yeah.
So you can get like whatever. I guess it's the same there though, because it's like you would think they would get more, but they didn't.
Yeah, but I feel like other countries are a little bit more lenient when you have that like
Crazy.
crazy.
Crazy. Yeah.
The United States is like, oh, you're crazy, you can't stand in trial. Okay, that's fine, but we're still gonna have a trial.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
and I'm
you're
pretty
just
sure
not
you
gonna
get locked
be-
away still.
Yeah, you still get locked away. You still do your time in prison, and your trial can either determine if you're in prison or you go to like a health care facility type prison.
Yeah.
While overseas, it's like, oh, you're unfit to stand trial. Okay, we're not gonna even have one.
Okay. Yeah. So I got another one since this episode's kind of short, and I don't want to end on some crazy shit like that.
We're gonna end on a happy note.
Yeah, well, not really a happy note, but more of like a interesting case. I mean, everybody's familiar with this case, but I wanted to cover it again just because it's like Pacific Northwest stuff. The mystery of D.B. Cooper,
Oh,
America's
I've heard this.
only unsolved skyjacking.
Shout out to Without a Paddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, obviously, if you don't know,
Is it Washington?
it was like Oregon, right,
okay. I
I think it's Oregonish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what
Oregonish. But so DB Cooper, the hijacker, it was in 1971, who parachuted out of a plane with $200,000 and vanished. It's one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in the U.S. I'm pretty sure, in my opinion. I guess I'll save my opinion for the end.
There's
But
so much money.
yeah,
I wonder how much money it is now.
So you guys heard of DB Cooper, right?
Yeah.
What do
$200,000.
you guys think of when you hear DB Cooper
I think of Without a Paddle.
without a paddle?
Yeah, he just he like buried it somewhere and then
Didn't they find it on that without a paddle?
They did.
Yeah.
They found him, but in the movie, he burned the money to try to stay alive.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, that's all I just know he like hid the money and then like vanished.
Yeah.
Well, how much money did he have? 20,000?
200.
200,000.
200,000 in what?
1971.
1971. to
So
today.
it was, if I recall correctly, it was like the winter time. It like November-ish. So well, obviously it was November 24th, 1971. So Thanksgiving Eve, a man using the alias Dan Cooper buys one-way ticket on Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 from Portland to Seattle. He's dressed fairly neatly, business suit, black raincoat, and a briefcase.
Quick input. 200,000 in 1971 equals to about 1,585,955 in 2025.
Thanks for that update.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
So 1.5 million.
Wow. And you got to think, in the 70s, you know damn well tickets weren't crazy expensive. And the security was definitely not like how it is now. I'm pretty sure you could smoke on planes back then.
Yeah, you could have.
Yeah. There's no metal detectors, no scanning for bombs, shit like that. So basically, Cooper could carry in whatever he wanted. Nobody would question a briefcase or folded notepad or notebook in his pocket. It's the fucking 70s, you know, people doing whatever they want. So he passes on a note to the flight attendant claiming he has a bomb. This is how it all starts. The flight attendant initially thought it was a pickup line or something. Eventually, she realized he was serious. Yeah, I don't know why she would like, hey, you're the bomb. Yeah, you're. So, Cooper tells the flight attendant he wants $200,000 in cash plus 4 parachutes. He specifically requests negotiable American currency. The airline cooperates with the FBI and local authorities preparing the ransom. So he's basically ransoming the people that are on the plane. The plane lands in Seattle. Cooper releases some of the passengers in exchange for money and parachutes. Flight attendants and pilots remain on board at Cooper's demand. So right now, he's trying to take off to Mexico. He instructs the crew to fly towards Mexico City, but at a low altitude with the aft stairs down. And here's the key part. Somewhere between Seattle and Reno, over the dense forest of Pacific Northwest, Cooper jumps out the fucking plane with the ransom in the dark. In the fucking dark, in the rain, in November. You're jumping out of a plane. Like, I don't understand. And you're at low altitude. How do you know?
He's got a parachute.
I mean, I guess, but you got to assume that it's windy as fuck. How is he going to control? I don't know. But anyways, it was bold. It was crazy to jump in some wooded territory at night like that. Like, who knows if the man actually survived? So the FBI's immediate search was, there was no definitive track. The plane didn't have some sort of tracking device that we do have now. FBI combed the area but found no conclusive trace of him. If you guys were an FBI agent that night, how would you be confident that he didn't survive? Like, how confident would you be?
I'd be pretty confident that he would.
That he would survive?
Low altitude? Yes.
But it's windy and trees.
You can
rain.
Survive through all that.
But what if he gets impaled?
The lady jumped off a 42-foot bridge. He can survive a low-altitude drop with a parachute.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now you bring that up. She was like on some superhuman Captain
she
America
wasn't on anything,
serum.
apparently.
So, here are some suspects, some theories, and some incomplete evidence for you guys.
My nose is very itchy.
So, the 1980 Riverbank money discovery. In 1980, a young boy found about $5,800 of ransom money along the Columbia River. Same serial numbers that the only, of the money that was given to him. That's the only physical evidence ever recovered from that. Some say he died during the jump, casually washed downstream, which is why the money was there. Some of the popular suspects was that FBI investigated 100 people, a few big names such as Richard Floyd McCoy, which is kind of a cool name when I actually said it out loud, Richard Floyd McCoy. He did a copycat hijacking of it. Kenneth Christensen, and some bizarre ones, none definitive proven. They officially closed this case in 2016 because it was basically unsolved.
Mm-hmm.
He left most of the money presumably unspent. Would you think, or do you think if he lived, wouldn't more of the bills be surfaced though? Like, they would find more of that money if he was survived, or if he survived?
Maybe. Well, why did he do it? Why did he want the money?
I mean, we would never know.
Exactly. So, what if he didn't even want the money? Maybe he just wanted, the fame of getting this money.
I mean, it was the
doing all that
70s and
stuff.
shit, yeah. The people were doing some crazy stuff.
Maybe he didn't even need the money. He just wanted to do it for funsies.
He just wanted to rob a bank and jump out of a plane just because he could.
What do you want, little man? Okay.
Window, please.
So, some believe Cooper meticulously planned everything. Maybe he was an ex-military with parachute knowledge. Others said that he was just in over his head. I mean, I honestly find it really crazy that he just was able to say, hey, I have a bomb, give me the money, blah, blah, blah. was there?
Why was there so much money on that plane?
No, they stopped at Seattle.
Yeah, they
and
gave
they
it to
exchanged. Yeah, they gave it
Because
to
he
him.
threatened them with the bomb.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Well, also, where did he... They never found him, right? He just disappeared?
Yeah, he just
Yeah.
disappeared. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me that he was... Maybe he had an accomplice, but it's, like, really hard to tell. Like, how do you know when to jump? You know what I mean? With no technology.
Well, maybe he did jumping from planes on a regular.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. Maybe he was ex-military. Maybe he had some knowledge of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, so, yeah, the impact of this, obviously, he's referenced it a lot as, like, a pop culture legend. He's referenced in TV shows, songs. Folks turned him into an anti-hero. Although it still is an unsolved federal crime. Every so often, everyone claims that they're the real Cooper or their grandpa was D.B. Cooper.
Yeah.
It's really wild.
Knows.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this man got away with it and then just vanished.
He's like a James Bond villain.
Yeah.
Except he didn't hurt anybody. He just took the money from the man and jumped out of a plane.
I wonder if he, like, got injured to the point where he was going to come back for the money, but then he couldn't.
No, but he jumped out with the money.
Yeah, and they said it was found on the...
5,800 of it was.
Well, maybe he, like, buried it in, like, pieces, you know?
Maybe. But that was found in, like, washed. Yeah, maybe.
Well, how would it get washed down the river too? You know,
Down the stream. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Did you, or what do you all think? Like, did he survive with most of the money, or was this the doom jump? This is for the audience. I mean, I would love to know what everybody else thinks. But, I mean, we've all watched Without a Paddle.
Maybe.
There's a maybe. I think the Ghoul Boys covered this. Shane Bidet and Ryan Bagara. But yeah, that's all I got. I mean, I didn't want to end on that weird guy. But yeah.
Well, it's like when you said when the Ghoul Boys did that one episode, and then their producer or whatever went and like found the money or something.
Oh yeah, it was the what was it? I forgot what it was, but
Yeah.
he like made it the treasure
Like
hunt.
triangulated it, and he was like,
Yeah, he
it's
was-
not in Montana. It's in this other. Or
It was in
Montana.
it was in the other place that they didn't go, which is crazy that he broke it down. What was that? It was the treasure something. I don't know, but yeah, I mean he
Could be
clearly
like
did
that.
his.
Someone will eventually.
I mean
find it.
they also did the research on this too, and they try to find his money. Yeah, so maybe he it might be in another place that he assumed. Who knows? But maybe they'll crack the case one day, or I don't know. Maybe that money's just gone forever. But
I think it's just gone forever. If nobody's found it by now, nobody's going to find it. And then, like you said, a part of it went downstream. Where's the other part of it? You know what I mean?
the other.
If he jumped out of a building, he wasn't going to let 1,500 of it go down a damn stream.
But he has like
jumped out of a
109
plane.
He has like 900 or 195,000 left.
If you jumped out of a plane for this money, would you let a single penny of it go?
Yeah,
I
mean,
would not.
If it would cost me my life, I would.
I would not.
Well, it was in like bundled up. How would it escape? Unless it hit trees on the way down and it kind of just like.
Yeah, it just says in 1980, a young boy found 5,800 of the ransom money along the Columbia River. The same serial numbers and everything matched. So,
Yeah, I don't know.
I just wonder how he found it. Was it like bundled up in like the little, it comes in like the little things? Or was it wrapped up in something else?
yeah, I don't know how it was wrapped up in the blue bands back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but that's all I got for this episode of True Crime.
Of Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
This week on Dragon Ball Z.
I don't
the
know what
next
we're going to do
episode.
next week. We'll figure something out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Or is there something you want to talk
Oh,
about?
no, I was thinking about it. I thought it was next week already, because, like, D&D's coming up. I was
D&D's
I was
in
like, oh, maybe
2
we could do
weeks.
something on
What is? Wait, what?
The 25th.
22nd.
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 I forgot. I don't have my calendar.
The 25th is like a Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, you're right. 22nd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
so
we have
not
the-
next Saturday, the following Saturday.
Yeah, next
Next Saturday.
next
Saturday.
Next Saturday we have D&D.
Oh, you know what? unrelated to true crime, I was reading an article that said Tales of the Shire is going to be postponed till next year.
The game?
Or later.
That
Yeah.
sucks.
Not next year, but like later.
That sucks.
Yeah, I was
That's
like,
wild.
oh,
I was
man.
so looking forward to being a little hobbit.
Yeah.
I've been on the Baldur's Gate grind lately. Like, I just keep
Yeah.
beating it over and over and playing on honor mode, just messing around, seeing if I could do different things. It's
Yeah.
fun. Yeah. Bringing a spark back in my life with that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I need more games to come out that I can play solo.
Yeah. So
by
we
myself.
so we had some Dune murders, some crazy twins, some little cannibalism, and
DB Cooper.
DB Cooper.
The boy DB.
That's all I got. That's all we got.
I think we should talk about games again next week. I miss them.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about our favorite games coming out this year, but
Or most anticipated.
our most
I feel like we did that one already.
No, we talked about
we
game of
talked
the year,
game of the
and then
year.
we talked about all the
Mhm.
games that are coming
Yeah,
out.
but we touched
Yeah.
on
Yeah, I
what
guess
our
we
most
did.
anticipated
Yeah.
games are.
I do want to play Assassin's Creed, but I also I was watching gameplay of Monster Hunter.
Mhm.
Looks kind of sick.
The new one?
Yeah, looks
Oh.
kind of dope.
It came out already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's already out.
So
I
yeah.
It's
think
just
Go,
too
go.
mechanical for me. It's like
Mm.
too much going on.
So I
That's
might,
okay.
I might
Oh my God.
get that.
My
Might get
nose
that.
is like
You might
so
hear about
itchy.
it next week.
Might play it. Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening. As always, this has been Co-op Chronicles with Pint Size Geisha, Black Label, and me, Azali.
Bye.
Have you guys heard of this new movie came out?
We gather round the mic, tales of knights and dice, gaming worlds collide, hobbies come alive. Azali and Geisha chat, Black Label's where it's at. Movies and stories told, secrets to unfold. Co-op Chronicles, come and join the ride in a world where fun resides. Co-op Chronicles, hear the stories, feel the vibes. Lo-fi beats, they flow as we share what we know. D&D and game and talk, every journey we embark. Laughs and fun, now that's the plan. In our little podcast clan, women leading through the air. Join us if you dare. Co-op Chronicles, come and join the ride in a world where fun resides. Co-op Chronicles, hear the stories, feel the vibe.